Well, howdy there, partners. You've moseyed into This Week I'm Learning, the podcast where the topics are lightly researched and the hosts never miss the dinner bell. This is episode 50, which means it's a discussion episode, and since Cody is now out of quarantine, we're able to do our drinking episode as well, so prepare for some craziness. This episode is being recorded July 5th, 2021 here in the States, and July 6th, 2021 in Thailand. Gotta clarify that now, since we're a international podcast. Yeah. I'm your host, Brandon Vader, also known as Dracanis. I'm going to let Psychonitrous on the far direction that way, I think. Both in reality and in Discord, actually. Far over there. Cody Stratman, also known as Psychonitrous. Why don't you introduce our guest this week?
So this week we have my esteemed host here, Tim, down below me, down that way. Say hi, Tim.
Hello there. Yeah, I'm sorry, my screens are a little bit different than yours, so I won't be able to pass along that way.
That's okay.
Yeah.
This is perfectly normal. Yeah. Perfectly
if there isn't
So
something a little bit off, then we aren't doing a real episode of TWIL.
Yeah, Cody just invited me along here for the experience, and I'll listen in and try not to interrupt you guys too much.
No. You have to
interrupt.
You have to interrupt.
Yeah.
This is the perfect episode for you to be on since it's discussion. So.
Yep.
Okay, good stuff.
Hop in.
Yeah. So how are we on? So on to the next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, Colton, down below, also known as Seeker 4761. That's the amount of stumbles we're gonna have in this episode because craziness.
Drinking. Sorry.
Yes.
Getting lit. Whatever the kids say. With my awesome drink.
It's 9:30. It's 9:30 a.m. over here. You realize that?
But it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Exactly.
It's actually 8:37 p.m. or 8:27 p.m. in Colorado right now. So.
7:30 here, so you guys are
you
ahead
guys-
of the
you
curve
guys-
in this case. That's the way I expand.
You guys better
It's
speed
9
up.
o'clock.
Fuck, what was this? Are we going to explain what
You
we're
know how
drinking
much
here?
a bottle of
Well, we
wine?
do have to.
Probably after.
Well, we still need
We still have to introduce
Charlie.
one more person, though.
Yeah, jeez. Trying to step on
I'm already
him.
drunk.
All right, since I
We
have
can talk
apparently
about
to introduce
liquor.
myself,
I'm good at
I'm
topic
Charlie
on that.
Stiffler, also known as Milnor, spelled wrong, so I always get it right. And I will introduce my drink first. I am drinking Basil Hayden's and Coke, so whiskey
What
and
is-
Coke.
Okay,
Basil
I was gonna ask what Basil
Huh.
Hayden's
Yeah,
was.
Basil Hayden's is a medium shelf whiskey. Very good.
Is it a Scotch whiskey, Irish whiskey,
Straight
American
bourbon.
whiskey, bourbon?
Straight bourbon whiskey.
Ooh.
All right.
Bourbon.
Tasty.
Sweet.
I'll go next.
So, yeah, what are you drinking?
I am drinking some black cherry Pinot. That my dad
Otherwise known
actually
as
made.
bathtub wine, yeah.
Nice.
It's not bathtub. He's got the full setup.
Did you have to start the siphon with your own mouth?
Not on this
Out of a-
batch.
Okay.
This
Okay.
Oh
the
my
most
God.
recent
bathtub
batch.
wine. So it's bathtub
I
wine.
missed
Got
that.
it. Okay.
Yeah, I used to make wine. It's a lot of fun.
Hell yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Hypothetically, is there a tax stamp involved, or is this all on the up and up, or is it
For this, this is
winemaking? Yeah.
personal use.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as you're not selling
Oh,
it,
so
you
you
can drink whatever you
so
want,
you
I
don't need
guess.
a license if you're
Yeah.
distributing it.
Yeah. Basically, each batch makes anywhere between 28 and 32 bottles, and that is just enough for me and my mom to split that pretty evenly while he's working on his next batch.
Wait, so he
I think-
doesn't drink.
Wait. So you drink
Because-
14 to 15 bottles of wine before you get your next batch, Brandon?
Yep.
My friend.
And
This is actually
And
an
so-
intervention.
What does it take? Like 3-4 weeks per batch, right?
month and a half to 2 months.
I was
Can
being-
you... Jesus
kidding.
Christ, Brandon. So wait, does he make it
Um,
all year
here-
long?
Yeah.
So make a knuckle with your hand, and then tap on your right upper abdomen. Let me just hear the tink 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 tink.
Piss and blood
It's not
now.
that bad. It works out to like 3 bottles a week.
Yeah, it's not a
Brandon.
problem.
It's not a problem. I mean, it's only one serving. This bottle will be gone tonight.
I guess it is a
is a
small
Drink
bottle,
like
so
3
they're
times a week.
it's fine. It's a baby bottle.
It's
It's-
fine.
Also,
You're
like,
supposed to get the bottle to be gone by the end of the podcast, so that's isn't that cool?
Oh god.
Colton, what are you drinking?
Well, there's a little distillery down here in Tucson, Arizona. It's called Costco, and they make a drink called Mama Mango. It is a delicious, like, I think it's champagne and mango juice. It's fucking delicious, and yeah, support your local distillery, even though Costco is certainly not a distillery or small.
So, you guys know that Costco and Sam's Club have their own like brand of alcohol for their house whiskeys and whatnot.
Yeah.
I want to say it's Costco's. I might be wrong. It might be Sam's Club. But one of their whiskeys is actually Maker's Mark in a new bottle.
Costco.
What?
Yeah, Costco's whiskey.
I think
is
it's
Maker's
Costco.
Mark.
Oh.
And it's $5 cheaper in their bottle.
Everything's cheaper in Costco, and you get more of it.
Yep.
Never should have gone in
All right.
there.
Cody, what the hell are you drinking?
so I've got this because last night I Googled liquor store and I realized that probably I was just going to go to 7-Eleven because
Yeah.
I don't know where they are here. And I was driving the motorbike around. I'm like, sure. And this is, yeah, it's either that or Sing. And I decided I'll go with.
So wait, is
what
that a
is
beer,
that?
a whiskey?
I'm pretty sure it's actually soju.
Tony-
That
Which,
would
what
be
is
my best
soju?
guess.
Explain.
It's Korean like rice alcohol.
Like,
So it's rice.
yeah,
wine, okay.
it's like a supercharged sake.
Ooh.
Got it. So,
It's like a rice
so
whiskey.
anything in the 12.5 to 19% is considered rice wine.
Yeah, so it's 12% is what this is, and then I got a
Oh,
backup
okay.
Baby rice wine.
of
It was
Back
Yeah.
up.
Smirnoff Rosé.
Smirnoff.
Ooh, rosé.
All right. Tim, are you playing our DD tonight?
He is.
well. What I have is reverse osmosis nam with namkan.
Ah,
What is that?
Which is what?
What the hell
Silence
is
is
that?
deafening.
Is that water?
translate. Explain.
Americans here.
Water.
Come on.
It's water. It's water with ice.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look,
Got
you know,
I stopped drinking about 2 months ago for weight loss. So
nice.
Got it.
you might want to kick me off now.
Well,
but-
the funny thing is Tim,
No.
what was that thing on the internet? Like, as a kid, you think coffee is the most adult drink, and then you get to be like 21, 22, you think alcohol is the most adult drink, and then by the
Yeah,
time you're like in your 30s, you're like, turns out
Yeah.
water is in fact the most adult drink of all.
oh.
So,
But if you want to talk about liquor prices and stuff here, I have a few prices I could throw out for you. You
okay.
wouldn't
Oh,
believe
yeah.
how expensive it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, your cheapest bottle of wine that you wouldn't even drink out of a box back home will probably be what they call 300 baht, which is probably at least maybe $10 US, $9 US.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's way overpriced. You know, your $8 bottle of US wine here was going to be 12, maybe 18. Wine is so expensive here.
Is
Yeah, you
that
guys don't
just
grow
because
grapes
of
in
the
that
import?
hemisphere.
I was gonna say, do they even?
It's
Have
tax.
vineyards
I think it's
Oh,
tax. Maybe protection of local stuff. I mean, you can buy your local beer. You know, your local beer is not too badly priced. But the second you buy anything craft beer, then it goes up to your craft beer is probably $8 a bottle.
And the reason
Wow.
I've heard of that is there's a certain, in order to become a like local brewery or local distributor, you have to sell like some ridiculous amount of alcohol to get that.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
so everything else counts as like an import, which gets taxed quite a bit. Anything that's imported.
And unfortunately, it's probably protectionism for a couple of the big companies here that make the beers that you'll buy everywhere in 7-Eleven or whatnot. But that's why, they could make some very good beer here. Sometimes, as you know from other sources, they'll brew it in a neighboring country with their ingredients, and then they'll just bring it across the border.
To bottle it.
It's just too expensive. But so if you want to be a drinker here, you pretty well got to stick to beer.
Sing song.
Stick
Sing
to your
song.
locals.
Or...
Do they
Yeah.
do they make any dark local beers?
You can get Lao. There's a beer called Lao beer, dark beer.
Beer Lao.
A beer Lao, but there's two different types. And one's a darker, which is actually pretty good.
Huh.
You can get that one. That's not badly priced. I don't know if they maybe remake it here, but it's actually from Lao, the neighboring country. I don't know, but maybe they make it here under licensing, or maybe they got a special deal because it's not too expensive. Yeah, but it's not. You don't get an IP. If you're going to buy an IPA, you're going to be paying bigger bucks. Yeah.
So my Guinness is going to be expensive. Got it.
Oh yeah, but so's wine.
Cody, I'm never
right?
moving to Thailand.
Can't drink McGuinness.
Yeah, I don't know. I think on the other end of things, mixed drinks seem pretty reasonable here compared to the U.S.
Yeah. What about your hard alcohol?
Bar prices. Yeah,
Do you guys
no,
have
even
a
those
lot of
important.
local hards?
They have Sang Som, and they have another one, Hong Tong.
Which are the local
they're
dirt cheap.
rums. Yeah.
Plastic bottles.
With a straw.
No, glass. Yeah, usually glass. Yeah.
I'm just trying to
They're
think
not
of
bad.
my crappy corner store plastic bottle whiskey. You know, your Kentucky Deluxe. That would be like
If you like rum, you'd be happy.
$7 for a fifth.
Yeah, honestly,
Yeah.
well, like
Swill.
About 200 bottles for a Mickey. 200 baht for a Mickey, which is about $6.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it's not too bad if you're okay with drinking that. And like I'm comparing this to Alaska prices, which are somewhat inflated when it comes to alcohol. And honestly, like when I get a mixed drink somewhere, it's usually cheaper here than Alaska. So
Makes sense.
I think bar prices tend to be cheaper.
yeah, bar prices are cheaper. Sang Som, again, it depends on how much you care, but I think Sang Som is better than a lot of well stuff in the U.S. Especially if you mix it Red Bull or something.
Cody, do you
Everything's
remember
better
how
with a
much it
mixer.
cost on the rooftops?
How much what?
Do you remember how much a rooftop bar would cost in Bangkok?
Yeah, rooftop bar. So like Octave is like, I think anywhere from like 400 baht, so $12 for a drink, and an equivalent place in the U.S. is going to be more expensive.
$12. Yeah, I mean,
For a rooftop bar,
For-
yeah, it's
for
going to be super
fancy,
expensive.
fancy rooftop bar in
Yeah.
the U.S.
Maybe more, honestly.
Yeah, and also if you go during happy hour, which has a pretty generous time, so that's from like 7 to 9 p.m. It's half off basically.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Half off
so
drunk.
your
Did
happy
it-
hours are at different times of the day than us. That's weird.
There's one place that I saw the happy hour was from
Yeah.
7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So
Hell yeah.
yeah, it's
Day drinking.
It's a bit different in some places
Always 5
here.
o'clock.
Did I interrupt your intros with my
Oh,
alcohol
no,
talk?
we're good.
No, not at
No?
all.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, this is-
okay.
That's why you're here, to interrupt and provide a new perspective.
Interject some fresh new blood for an episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I would love to be able to. I don't think it's legal, but I'd love to be able to make my own beer here or make my own wine. Maybe next time I get somebody to come over, I'll get them to bring a. That's kind of heavy though, isn't it? A wine kit.
It
Kind of
is.
heavy. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, because just the ingredient kit is probably 25 pounds, and then you've got the
Mm.
25-pound car
Yeah.
buoy.
Yeah, that's out of the question. Yeah, we could do the carboys here, but it's just the kits.
I mean, normal
Yeah,
luggage
they don't-
allowance is 50 pounds, so if you've got light luggage, just bring an extra.
Just a
Yeah,
big
it's
old
just-
wine distillery, put it on a fucking commercial airplane. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it goes through the scanner, and they're like, "What the fuck is that?" No, that's
It's not a bomb. It's not a. It's a.
Yeah. You have to declare your fruit.
This
I mean,
This
that'd
is
be
a
very
fruit.
interesting. Bring grapes.
Wine is a fruit. Shut up. Got mango in it. Mm. God damn, it's like a mimosa. I love it. Cheap
I thought I could
ass
fool you
garbage
with my
mimosa.
NAM. Maybe reverse osmosis NAM. I thought I could fool you guys, but didn't work.
What do they call that in the States? A blue dolphin or whatever?
Oh.
Isn't that what they call a glass of water in a bar? As a blue, at least in Gunnison,
Really?
Colorado. I always called it a blue
Really?
dolphin. I swear to
No
God.
idea.
Never.
White
Maybe
tea is,
maybe that's why I
is a very
never.
common one.
I always
I've seen.
blacked out at the bar because it's like, hey, I have a blue dolphin. It's water, right? Totally. It's just pure vodka and fucking other clear liquids just put in a drink. I don't know.
Oh.
Tasted
Like-
good.
Oh.
Bombay gin or something
Oh.
like that. That's a blue bottle.
It's called that. Shut up. Maybe it's an
Everclear.
Arizona thing. I don't know.
Oh God. Well, Brandon, why don't you lead us into, or I guess
As
we
to
didn't
say,
really brief you. Okay.
Yeah.
I will lead us.
This is
into
your
our
topic. This is your baby.
So, we had kind of decided, or I had kind of decided, and I had nobody disagree with me, that all of us at one point have learned a new language or are learning a new language. So we would
I
discuss.
failed it too.
or have failed at learning languages, so that works too. But we have a perspective on just kind of the differences and struggles of learning a language and just things therein. So I figured we would discuss that and just talk about, since
Let
it's
the
this week
discussion
we're
bloom.
learning. Exactly.
Beautiful.
And then
So I have an opening question.
okay.
The opening
Opening
question
salvo.
is, I know where Brandon's from. I know where Cody's from. I know where Colton's from. Tim, where were you born?
I was born in Montreal, Quebec.
Okay, so you're Canadian.
Yes.
So you the two languages you failed at are French and English.
Actually, I should say three: French, English, and Thai.
There you go.
All right, got it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, should we
So-
go around and just quickly why people learned a certain language and a quick thing of how hard it was or whatever? What do we think here?
Yeah.
It's free
Sure.
form.
Okay.
It's free form, baby.
Freeform, but that sounds good.
Colton,
let's-
what
I'm
languages
gonna start.
have you learned or are learning?
Well, I mean, I live in Southwest United States, and the border of United States and Mexico is like right there. Can almost see it from my house. But seriously, it's like 50 miles to the south of where I live. So Spanish is actually the language that I am currently trying to learn. I mean, I've taken some language classes like Spanish in high school. I didn't really take any in college. I only really got serious again the last year because I've had time due to current world events. And
Why? What happened?
did you hear? There's something going around.
Ah,
I don't know. It might be a big deal, at least in some countries. But I mean, Spanish is not. It's different than English. Obviously, it's a Romance language versus a barbaric Germanic languages. I'm sure somebody's going to talk about. But there's at least luckily there's a big community who's wanting to learn Spanish in the United States, especially around here in Arizona for obvious reasons. Again, I think I read somewhere that like an English user can recognize 3,000 words in Spanish just right off the bat because they're pretty much with the word with an O or an A at the end of it. So, see,
Ambulancia, yeah.
completo. I mean, literally, it's I think that's the word.
Krankenwagen.
See, no, that doesn't mean anything to me. May as well be Klingon. Fucking German.
I was
I think-
ready for that.
I think that might be a good little transition into what Brandon, I'm sure, is going to talk about.
I thought he was clearing his throat.
Okay, I would like to actually pause for a second and
Ooh.
argue that I know for a fact that you know at least 3 more languages.
Me?
Yes.
Okay.
They're not a language you typically communicate in, but
Love
Oh.
language.
these are programming languages.
Oh, yes.
that's
I
Very good.
I could have done that. I thought about that. I'm like, it's pretty nerdy. But yes, I also know some C++, some Python, little JavaScript, HTML. But unfortunately, if you're out on the town, when I was in college, talking in C++ at the
HTML.
bar, really did not get the ladies, if you will. So
See out.
Wow. Our geek level just skyrocketed. Okay, Brandon.
So I grew up in Colorado, but I was actually born in England. But I ended up learning German in high school, basically just to buck the system because everyone was telling me, you should learn Spanish, it'll be more important. You should learn Spanish, it'll be more important. What did teenager me do? Went, Nein, ich spreche Deutsch.
I'm unique. I'm a special snowflake. I want to yell.
I'm a special snowflake. Liebe mich. Yeah. But,
Wow.
yeah, so I learned German, and then I, later in life, as working as a paramedic out in California, realized that I should probably know some Spanish. And I tried to learn Spanish, and it just...
What? Not
I learned,
many
I
Not
learned
enough yelling.
enough
people
to
in
get
LA?
in trouble.
And
I did
got-
actually, it did come in use once. There
Yeah.
was an elderly couple that we transported in that spoke German primarily, but they also spoke flawless English. It was just kind of nice to communicate with someone. In a
I
different
didn't waste my
For a
language
minute.
learning.
Yeah.
So, is it difficult? Is it easy comparatively? Since they are from the same language family, from what I understand.
They're totally different language set. You've
Totally
got
different language family.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, in Spanish is your Romance
No.
language.
English,
German
English
is-
and German. Sorry,
English
no,
and
no.
German are not.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Same group.
that's what I
Gotcha.
meant. They're from the same English and German. Not obviously Spanish is
Yeah.
it's a
Sorry.
love language.
Spanish,
Romance.
German. It's like, could you get more opposite?
Yeah.
Should have clarified. My bad. I'm drunk.
That's all right. I found it was pretty easy. There's, you have to deal with umlauts and a couple accents and stuff like that, but it's like mouse is mouse in German.
Yes, but mouse also means
Miss.
40 caliber rifle.
Yeah.
That's right.
Mouse
and a giant tank.
Yes.
Light is Licht. It's. I think the hardest two parts about it was how, depending on, like, the formality you have, it changes how you communicate entirely how you communicate to someone. So, if I'm talking to someone who I'm giving respect to, someone who's probably an elder, and I wanted to say, she has a glass. Sie hat ein Glas. But if it's, or no, sorry, that's if it's a girl. If it's more formal, it would be like, Sie hatten eine Glas, and it changes some of your prefixes, postfixes, and it just getting all that in there, and then how each noun has a gender, because there's 5 different thes. Der, das, Dane,
Dip, dodge, and
D.
duck.
Yeah, I can't remember them all now. I've already had too much wine, but there's different thes for different nouns because it
So
is inherently masculine, feminine.
And there's also has a function of the a versus before a vowel will always have an an instead of a just solo a. It's the German English does kind of translate there a little bit.
Yeah.
That sounds very similar to some aspects of Spanish, though.
Very much so.
Yes.
I want to say a lot of
Most languages
have a gendered pronouns
yeah.
and gendered nouns. Excuse me, not pronouns.
Well,
Yeah.
I think French is probably one of the worst for that.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sure.
It gets very confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim.
Everything's masculine or feminine.
Tell us about your experience then. Just keep going.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Well, I grew up in Quebec, which is a bilingual province, and unfortunately, at that time, they didn't teach French very good in schools. And I wasn't a very good student. But in adulthood, I do find I recognize a lot more words than I thought I actually learned. But back then, people think of Quebec as only French, but we were like probably 800,000 English as a mother tongue. So we had multiple universities. We had McGill, we had Sir George William, Concordia. We had many, many colleges. So you have all your education in English, and we lived in the West Island of Montreal, and that was mostly an English environment. There was one time, I think, where I almost got to the point where I could be bilingual, because I spent some time with some French people who only spoke French. They couldn't speak any English, and it was like trial by fire. But I've lost that. I just have enough that it has helped me when I went to Cambodia one time and had to communicate with a pharmacist.
Oh, really? I didn't.
It was for the stomach. It wasn't for anything you might be thinking. Okay, I went to Cambodia, had to communicate with a pharmacist, and a second language with a lot of the older people there is definitely French, because they were colonized by the French.
Interesting.
And
Laos,
so I did
Cambodia,
that.
Vietnam, all French.
Yeah.
If you want good pastries, go there.
I think I could probably learn if I took some formal training as an adult and as a more serious student. I probably could pick up French quite quickly. But now the language here, of course, is Thai. And I just find it's a little harder at my age to keep a big vocabulary. My wife is fluent. She's Thai Canadian, and she's fluent, and I probably rely on her too much. But I think Cody could say, I once in a while the words do pop out of my head.
Yeah, because
we've been talking about language.
It's interesting with you too, because I've noticed there's sometimes where she'll do like one full sentence in Thai with you, and you'll just be like, yeah, okay, or like die or whatever in response.
I really don't notice.
Yeah, no, it's like every once in a while I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, she still uses like she'll English, and then immediately like there's phrases that she'll do Thai in. Rather than English. So I found that kind of fascinating when listening to you two converse. So
what is really hard about Thai is it's a tonal language, and I didn't know what a tonal language was until I got exposed to Thai. It is so hard, and we can't even hear the tones sometimes.
Well,
our ears just aren't even trained to hear all these tones. There's like one word, it starts with M-A. And I can't do all the tones, but it's ma. I'm only doing 3 of the tones. That's only 3 of the tones. There's 2 more. I don't know. I can't do them. Ma, something like that. And they mean things like dog, cat, horse, and it's just a tone.
And I'll give you an example of
it's
where
too much
this
to me.
Could be somewhat problematic. The difference between going kun sawai ma or going kun sawai ma. One of those means you are very beautiful, and one of those means you are very bad luck. So, and that's not
there's worse ones she told me.
There are much worse versions of screwing up toads that I learned the other day.
Oh God!
Yeah,
asking for hot sauce versus asking for something else.
You're gonna have to clarify what that something else, though. Now you've piqued my interest.
Female moisture. Oh, can I say that? Can I say moisture? Can I say use moisture?
Yeah,
moist.
Yes,
as in the
this
moist.
This is an adult podcast.
Effusium of the female genitalia.
Huh. Oh wow. Oh my gosh. That's so...
Good job. Good job.
I can get you in trouble.
I will share a blunder while we're sharing blunders. So one of the, and you're going to be obnoxiously angry about it, is one of the main languages I can speak poorly is International Sign Language. So being the obnoxious one in the room,
that's cool.
I learned International Sign Language. And there's some subtle differences between ISL and ASL, American Sign Languages. One of which is rain versus explosive diarrhea. I asked a pretty lady who I knew was deaf if she was enjoying the rain, and I got just smacked straight across the face. Yeah, that was fantastic. Any word blunders in German, Brandon?
I think the programming language pickup line will probably do better. Sorry, I interrupted your question about
Brandon?
German.
German blunders.
I mean,
Other
there's
than
the
Battle of the
famous
Bulge.
one. There's the famous. Oh God. I mean, there's the famous one where. Wasn't
Ich bin
it
ein
Kennedy
Berliner.
Ich bin ein Berliner, and a Berliner. He was thinking that was meant to mean a person of Berlin.
Yeah.
But a Berliner is a
When
jelly
you say
filled donut.
ein Berliner, when you say ich bin ein Berliner, it makes it a jelly donut.
Yep.
Which, I mean, he is American, and we frankly are.
That one's cute, though.
Are jelly donuts. And I would be remiss if I did not say that most of my international interactions have been to that effect, that people think that Americans are all jelly donuts. If you
a cute comment is better than an insulting one, for sure.
That's true. If you travel the Caribbean, you will find in the islands that there are Kentucky Fried Chickens everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. And they call them KFCs, but their KFC means something different. It means keep fatty coming. Yeah. So, yeah.
Digging a little.
We are jelly donuts. Colton, any blunders in Spanish?
I can't think of any off the top of my head. I may have to do a little
Here,
poor research
homework
while we're
assignment.
talking.
Go say something accidentally insulting in Spanish.
That would get me cut. South side of Tucson. But since you're talking anyways, Charlie, what other languages do you know?
Okay,
Sorry,
so International Sign Language. I've been working on my American Sign Language. I'm a Navy brat, so Morse code. I know Morse code. I don't know any of the.
I used to know Morse code.
I took a C++ class in high school and I dropped it. Like, I don't program. It's not. I am not that level of these guys. These guys are the programmers, not me. I lived in Israel, so I speak Hebrew. Poorly.
Nice.
Poorly. Colloquial. I know a lot of Yiddish, and Yiddish is great because it's a lot of inappropriate anatomy statements. I know Russian. I spent some time in Alushta, Ukraine. I know Japanese. I lived in Okinawa. I know some French. I lived in a place called Rabaul, which is about a 15-minute walk from the Belgian border, so I know Flemish as well. And Rabaul, on a side note, is also the most racist place I've ever lived ever, and that's impressive because the next language I know a little bit of is Afrikaans, and that's South Africa, and I lived in Johannesburg, and Rabaul still has that place beat. And then I lived in Germany for, 8 weeks, picked up some German, also took that in 8th grade to impress a girl, didn't work out.
Did you call her a
Imagine
jelly
that.
donut?
No, I did not call her a jelly donut, but yeah, it did. Yeah, several points in my life, and yeah, it's never worked out. Yeah. So those yeah, that's all. Of them.
So I guess the question is,
I
what
have to. Sorry, guys.
languages-
I've got to
jeez.
move my computer. I'm sitting in an office here with no air conditioning on. I'm dying. I'm going to sit outside.
No worries. Continue.
As long as you're
and-
bringing your task cam with you.
So all those languages you're familiar with. Which languages would you consider yourself? I want to say fluent.
Conversational.
Could you-
Conversational. I could make light conversation in Russian, decent conversation in Japanese, greetings, bathrooms, medical emergencies in French, in German. I can understand Afrikaans. I can't speak it because it's like Pidgin German. If you know what Pidgin languages are, it's like Pidgin languages of English would be like modern Hawaiian has a lot
Cajun?
of Pidgin
No, it's French.
American in it.
You can
Cajun
kind of
has some Pidgin. Nigerian and Dominican languages are Pidgin on French. So Afrikaans is Pidgin on German, as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to piss off a lot of people. If anyone was walking from South
Our
Africa, now
massive
they're turning us
international
off.
audience is
Yeah,
going to
they're
be
turning us
disappointed. in
off.
I
us.
thought it was. Is it not Dutch? I thought that was Dutch.
But Dutch is so heavily German influenced that it's
Yeah.
90% of the verbs are the same.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so of the languages I've learned, the easiest to learn for me was probably Hebrew, speaking it. And keep in mind, I don't read any of these languages, so all of their special characters, all of their calligraphy, I don't read Cyrillic, I don't read traditional Japanese, can't do it, and I understand a whole lot more than I can speak. But I know enough to speak in all of those languages to get in a lot of trouble. Like, all right, I'm not gonna say it because that like X-rated Russian if I were to say it. But yeah, I know a lot of bad words in all of these languages. Priorities.
Yeah, they're the easiest ones to remember.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Most fun.
And I was learning these languages from 5 until about 15. So you want to talk about neuroplastic? Like your brain is able to absorb a lot of information when you're really young, because that's all it's doing all the time. But frankly, yeah, way more trouble than it's worth at this point. You'll notice that Spanish is not on the list. I've never lived in a Spanish-speaking country. I never lived in Spain.
fascinating.
I never
South
lived
America.
in Italy.
I'm surprised you haven't just trying to take it up just for medical purposes.
Fortunately, like Brandon explains, like most of the words can be either an A or an O on the end, so ambulacina, hospitalia, but keywords like dolor. Dolor means pain. Dolor aquí, dolor aquí, dolor aquí. Necesita aquí. I need you to sit there.
Interesting.
Cuantos años? How much do you?
Soy
How old are
un
you?
bombero,
Right.
not policia.
Sign here. Yeah, that's
Interesting.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Cody, what about you?
childhood.
So at a young age, I was in a Catholic school that taught French was the only option for several years, from 4th grade to 6th grade. And I remember like 4 sentences of that. So I can say probably the most useful thing in French that there is for not knowing French, which is je ne sais pas, which means I do not know. So anytime anybody speaks French to me, I just respond to that in je ne sais pas.
All you need to know is omelette du fromage.
Yes, very, very much.
Omelette
Actually,
du fromage.
Omelette du fromage.
Le
Tim, do you
grand
get that
Such a
reference?
hilarious-
Out of curiosity?
Yeah. Le grand fromage. Yeah.
Do you know what
Yeah,
TV
praising
show
the
that's from?
praising the bit. What? Say again?
Do you know what TV show that's from?
No.
Dexter's
I
Lab.
think I've heard
It's
that somewhere.
the way we were talking about it was like from a cartoon show because we're all
It was on
Young and
Cartoon
Oh, okay.
Network
Giant
in
nerds.
the 96 to 2002 range.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I watch a lot of anime.
It's fantastic.
Japanese.
The other language. So I know probably the English. I think I know sometimes, and then Spanish is what I kind of transitioned to after sixth grade. So I know a decent amount of Spanish. Like if I get the way that I say it is if I get dropped into a Spanish-speaking country, like parachuted in somewhere, I know enough Spanish where I could probably get out of that country, but I couldn't tell you like how to fix your computer in Spanish.
But can you find a bathroom?
Baño.
Yes. So
Dos cerveza, por favor.
Quítate tu ropa.
yeah, it's. And then since I, oh my god, since I'm now in Thailand, I've been studying Thai kind of very loosely for the last 3 years. When I first came here, I studied numbers because I wanted to not get screwed over or scammed, and that's actually come in very handy. And lately, I've been trying to learn how to read Thai, but I only know a few characters. Thai is actually an extremely logical language, even though you've got all those tones and everything. It's something that I've just like probably the biggest thing in learning to read Thai is so in English, like you've got the letter A, and the letter A can make like 5 different sounds. It could be a, e sometimes, ah, and you never really know how that letter is going to make that sound. So the difference is like Thai, they have a different letter for each of those sounds, so you know when you're reading it which sound that letter is going to make. And that's something that I've just found fascinating. Oh yeah, there's a ton, but it's you have. There was one guy that explained it pretty well. It's like you have like short, long, and then stretchy and squishy. So you have like ooh, or like ooh, ooh ah, and ooh. You know. It's actually not as bad as you think it is when you concentrate on, okay, it's just one sound per letter, and then it becomes a little bit easier. But when I'm saying that, I'm not fluent at all. I'm still very much learning, and again, I only know how to read a few characters, and I need to get back on that. But it's a fascinating language, and it's like they say English doesn't have tones, but we do. We definitely have. So one of the 5 tones is rising tone, and we have it when we make a statement, a question, like you're going to the mall.
Yes.
Yeah. So like the difference between yes or yes, like. We actually use that. We just don't realize we use that, and we only use it for question words or certain circumstances. So there's more connections than we think, and that's just something that I've found, again, fascinating when learning Thai.
Well, I mean, even
And
same with the United
like
States.
Akuppa.
Yeah. I mean, even within the state of Colorado, there's different ways to say the freaking word creek. You say crick, or how you say certain towns, like Pueblo or Pueblo, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, I said it. Come at me, Pueblo. Or, well, I don't think Puebloans call it that. I think it's more of a
Puebloans
more of a
it
Buena
Pueblo.
Vista kind of a central Colorado
or
thing.
Del Norte versus Del Norte.
Del Norte.
Salida.
Yeah. Either way, stop. No Spanish joke. Okay, got it.
It's not Salida. Isn't that exit?
Yeah, and that's what it's supposed to
Yeah.
mean, the exit of the
Oh,
king.
I guess,
I've had
yeah.
arguments with people over this, but people in Salida call it Salida. And we had a printer at my last job called Salida, and everybody called it Salida. I'm like, no, that's not how they say it. So many hours of arguing over that. But
Years lost.
That's a good point of different regions. Like, okay, any one of us, so we speak English as our main language, but if we try to understand somebody from, like, the deep south of the U.S., southeast U.S., we would probably have some trouble. Like Boomhour from King of the
dang.
Hill.
King of the Hill.
Or Appalachian
Dang old
Mountains,
boom
where
hour.
Yeah,
It's even
that's
worse.
English.
There's also very interesting things like the different dialects of Spanish. Like Castilian Spanish, like Spain Spanish, is completely different than
Yeah, they have
Latin
lisps.
Spanish. They have lisps, and
Yep.
do you know
No,
why
literally,
they
that's-
have lisps? Do you know why the Castilians
no,
have lisps?
why do they? What's the
Because
theory?
there was a king about 600 years ago that had a very pronounced lisp. In order for his court
Really?
and the common folk to sound as regal as possible, they started sounding like him, kind of like Emperor's New Clothes kind of style. And
Huh.
so that's where the lisp comes from.
That's actually fascinating. Yeah, like the study of linguistics and language, especially through history, is utterly fascinating. Like, I think it's like there's a common thing that the youth is always ruining the language. It doesn't matter what language it is. The young people don't know how to speak the fucking language. Whether it's English, I'm sure it's the same in Thailand, it's the same in Japanese. Every damn culture beats on the youth about that. But you got languages like Icelandic, where it's arguably one of the most difficult languages in the world, but they can actually understand ancient Nordic from thousands of years ago because that language has been so static
Rigid.
in how it's been passed on through generations.
It's the closest to a living dead language as you can get. It's on life
Exactly.
support.
So I wondered, like Old English, we probably couldn't freaking talk to somebody. It would be a different. We can make
what's
it work.
interesting, if you think about it, like, and this is from a linguistics perspective, I have one of my best friends. Her name is Dana Hunter. She lives on the East Coast. She lives in Washington, D.C. She's got a PhD in linguistics. If I could speak her language. So her primary language that she learned was German. Not the girl I learned it for, by the way. But met her through that program. It is not that far off from modern American. So where, Ben Franklin and Thomas Jefferson and George Washington branched off from the British is actually where the British were
At that point.
like at that point. So modern American English is actually pretty damn close. Like the modern American accent was pretty damn close to what the British were speaking in 1770.
See, I wonder if that's like a cultural pride kind of thing. Like,
Absolutely. I
like
think
I'm
that,
speaking American, and this is how I always speak American. I mean,
like,
and it's this,
the-
and there's
what-
no outside influences. It's the cultural powerhouse, at least of the Western Hemisphere. So there's no, like, they're the ones doing the cultural influence. They're not being influenced by other cultures necessarily.
So what I call this is enunciated English. So if you have a highly educated person from Seattle, Sacramento, LA, New York, Denver, Atlanta, all in the same room, highly educated, they're going to talk pretty damn close the same way. The higher the education, the less of an accent they'll have. When we're talking about the extremes of the accents, that's idiosyncratic and all unique. But the higher you go in the education, the more vanilla English you get to. And I believe that is also the same with Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and England. You get the closer, the higher educated you get, the more vanilla British Queen's English you get. Like 2 weeks ago when I was researching random topics, funny that you chose language for 50, by the way. I almost made this 48. The phenomenon of the middle and older generation being angry at the young generation for their changes to the language is ubiquitous and has gone through time. Like, if you read all the way back, they hate the youngest generation massacring their language. But things that we take commonplace. Exactly. As much as I hate the word YOLO, it's part of the English vernacular now, which pisses me off. Don't get me wrong.
Kids and your YOLO.
I was thinking something a little better than that.
Like Muggle?
Yeet. Yeah.
Yeet?
Or
Muggle?
Yaz.
No.
Yeah, Yaz. Yep.
Rickroll.
Rickroll.
Yeah.
IMHO.
Yeah.
That seems like internet influence kind of.
SMH.
Yeah,
obviously.
absolutely. It's definitely.
Which I mean is obviously a completely different language in itself. I mean,
but
it's the reason we're going back to hieroglyphics.
But is it? Because if you break down words like shit and fuck, they're acronyms. They mean things. Shit means store high in transit. It's the way you used to transit manure in a barge.
Really?
Because if you put it down in the low, when they would go down to check for leaks in the hull, the candle would explode the boat because of the methane buildup. So you have to store it high in transit. Fuck means fornicate under the consent of the king. Like, that's how prostitutes were able to do the nasty under British rule in the 1600s. That's where
and of
fuck
course,
came from.
That's all that humans care about. So saying naughty words and sex.
By the way, if I ever become emperor, Prima Noctum is coming back.
Oh, Jesus. Jesus.
Sorry.
Well, luckily they have medications for that by that point. So it's fascinating.
Penicillin couldn't fix.
Go ahead, Cody.
Yeah, the internet has really changed like how people communicate and changed language. Like, and an example of this is like you look at, if you communicate via text to someone who's Spanish speaking, and you see JA, what does that mean?
Laughing.
Well, ha ha ha, but
the J sound makes a
TV show.
Yeah. Whereas in Thai, if you see somebody type 5555555, that means the same thing. And
yeah, because the number 5 is ha.
So
in Thai, right?
Yep, exactly. And then you get to emoji communication, and that's where we get back to talking about hieroglyphics, is this allows a better communication between multiple languages when smiley face means the same thing in English as it does in Thai, same thing that it means in German.
Does eggplant mean the same everywhere?
Eggplant peach.
Or eggplant sure water shooting out thing.
Everyone gets pissed off when they add a new word to Merriam-Webster, but if you don't, you're just not being authentic.
Becomes Latin. Just dies. Needs to be fluid.
The point of a language is to communicate, is to be able to understand each other, to be so.
And but
to be clear, is the plural of yeet, yote?
Yeets.
I'm gonna say
yes.
Yeety. Yeety.
And then in the past tense would be yacht.
Oh God. Fascinating. Like, within our own lifetime, the world has obviously gotten significantly smaller. And going back to what Cody said, because even though everyone's from around the world, they speak different languages, they have different life experiences, at our core, we're still basically the same, with some exceptions. Sometimes smiling is actually a threat, depending on the history of certain areas.
Showing his teeth.
Just don't show teeth.
But a gentle... How many ways Thais have to smile?
Exactly. But in the end, it's especially with all the shit going on in the world, we just try to remember that we're all basically the same fucking... What was it, Brandon? Meat sacks cover bone... what'd you say? We're bringing that back.
Sacks of mostly water?
Sacks of mostly water.
I hate you.
See? If everyone just thinks like that, you know what? We just talk in emojis, the world would be a better place.
All right, we're back after a short technical issue. We're going to go ahead and call it a wrap. That's all right. This is a TWIL episode. It happens. So, hope you enjoyed what we had. But, Colton, where can we find you?
You can find me being a terrible backup here most weeks, but also Seeker4761 and most of the social media things. Actually, all the social media things. I'm also a Twitch streamer at twitch.tv/Seeker4761. I try to stream
Hopefully
3 or 4
that's not
times a week.
the amount of times that we have to redo each episode.
We haven't done 3 yet, so we've got a long way to go. But Charlie, where can we find you?
I am Charlie Stiffler, also known as Milnor, spelled wrong, so I always get it right. You can find me on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Steam, Instagram, all of the things, except for OnlyFans. I heard your comment last time, Cody. Cody, where can we find you?
Definitely not on OnlyFans, unfortunately.
Not yet.
Maybe after I lose some more weight. You can find me here on TWIL. You can find me on YouTube as Striving to Fail, as I'm failing at uploading new content like usual. And you can find me on Tim's YouTube channel. So Tim, why don't you tell us about that?
Well, I have a YouTube channel. I'm doing it here in Thailand. It's called Our Thai Journey. And we haven't put much out in the last month or so because of COVID, but my next video probably should be some of Cody's adventures on the video showing him around. And YouTube page are the same. And my Discord is Fake Farang, Farang. It means fake foreigner. Fake
love
is
it.
fake, Farang is foreigner in Thai. Yeah. That's it.
All right.
Brandon?
And I am Brandon Vader, also known as Dracanis. I'm most active right now on Instagram, bvader86. And we go, oh no, I lost the show notes.
Of course you did. Because it wouldn't be a oh shit makeup outro if we didn't have
Oh my God! It's like we don't know what the fuck we're doing.
Oh
wait,
we do.
audio.
That's our slogan. Fuck it, let's do it again.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of This Week I'm Learning. You can find us wherever you listen to your podcasts, as well as on YouTube at This Week I'm Learning. For you social media peeps out there, you can find us on Twitter at ThisTwil. If you'd like to contact us, of course, you can always send an email to twil@thetechpirate.net. We'll see you all next week. Auf Wiedersehen, gute Nacht.
Adios.
Do svidaniya.
Sawadee krap.
Bienvenue. Auf Wiedersehen.
I bet we didn't get the 50th anniversary or 50th episode.
Oh
good
yeah.
God
there.
damn it.
So, happy 50th episode.
Yeah, 50th
That's a big old
episode.
5-0, babies.
Woo! We're over
Hell
the
yeah,
hill.
that is way more than I thought we were gonna do, knowing how our group generally interacts with adventures
Each
and
other,
endeavors.
technology.
Like honestly, I'm surprised we made it to episode 4, so I'm proud of us. We're getting
Yeah.
there.
Hey.
I just remember the days of Hamachi when we couldn't get a game to work while we were all in the same fucking room.
Oh god. Hamachi.
Oh my god.
Oh, LAN parties.
So here's what you do.
LAN parties
I'll
you
come
won't
on and
ever
do a
have
lip
again
sync
because
track.
someone had to move the fucking time.
Oh, lip sync track.
Oh god.
Sync track would be hilarious.
Yeah.
I'll have to try to remember what I said and lip sync over.
I think you're ready for a show for a much better production value than what we
Oh
have
my
here.
god.